Hi, today I'm sharing with you a recipe for a wonderfully fluffy, cheesy scrambled tofu and veggies. This hearty, nutritious dish is good for any meal of the day. Let's get started with the recipe. So here I'm taking regular tofu. It's not extra firm or super firm, it's just regular tofu. I'm gonna crumble that up into the blender. So to this, I'm adding half a cup of almond milk. You can also add soy milk if you want, or if you're not vegan, you can add regular milk. And I'm gonna add just a pinch of turmeric powder for color, the yellow color of the egg. Turmeric also has lots of medicinal values, so it's good to add that whenever you can. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of cumin powder and coriander powder mixed together. This is probably about half a teaspoon. And the thing that gives this an eggy flavor is kala namak. So this is, you may also know that as Himalayan salt. So I'm adding about half a teaspoon of the Himalayan salt. I'm also going to add a little bit, maybe a quarter of a teaspoon of regular salt. You want to be careful with the salt because sometimes it can get a little salty. So perhaps if you're not sure, maybe wait until your dish is ready to add extra salt. And then we're just going to blend this up. So this is what we're looking for. I just blended it for about a minute and everything is well mixed in. It's almost like a thick paste, and this is what we want. So let's get to the pan and get this cooking. So here I have a non-stick pan going at medium heat. I'm just going to add about a tablespoon of olive oil, and then to that this pan is pretty heated up. I'm going to add our tofu mixture. So as you can see, things start to splutter up quite a bit initially, so you want to have something to cover the pan ready. And we'll let that cook for a little bit and then give it a mix. So let's give this a mix. Things will start to stick at the bottom, so you want to keep mixing this once in a while. You could just crumble the tofu into the oil and add the spices, but I find that if you blend it all together, the spices are incorporated into the tofu really well. So the kala namak and the cumin powder and coriander powder, etc., get really well mixed in, and then each bite is very flavorful. So I like to do it this way. So we'll keep cooking this for a little while. So I'll cover it again and maybe mix it again in a couple of minutes. It's been about 3 or 4 minutes. I'm just gonna mix this a little bit. So as you can see, things are starting to curdle up, solidify a little bit. That's what we want. If you like a chunkier scrambled tofu, then you probably just want to fold things in instead of mixing things together. Now that things are not spluttering, I'm gonna just let this cook without the lid on for about 3 or 4 minutes. A lot of the moisture is there, so we want to have all of that evaporated. So we're gonna mix this, keep mixing it, and you can see that things are getting a little bit brown on the bottom. That's good. And I'm just trying to fold this in because I want a little bit of a chunkier tofu. So at this point I've been cooking this on medium heat for about 10-15 minutes, and as you can see, the moisture has evaporated quite a bit, and things are still chunky because I'm sort of folding it in. I'm not mixing things together. If you do that, then you'll get a crumbly tofu. It still tastes good. It's just the texture. I like the texture to be a little bit chunkier. At this point, I want to add about 3 medium-sized tomatoes that I've diced. And then 1 green pepper that I've diced finely as well. If you like the veggies to be a bit more cooked, you can add this a little bit earlier. I like them to be a little bit crunchy, so I'm adding this when things are, about getting done. And I want to just fold it in together. Now for the veggies, you can pretty much add anything that you want. I've added tomatoes and green peppers. You can add celery or spinach or even black beans. It'll taste great with all of those and more. If you try this recipe and if you have a different version with different kinds of veggies, I'd love to hear how it turned out. So please do leave a comment in the comment section below. And I'm just going to cook this for maybe another 3 or 4 minutes. The veggies will also ooze out moisture, so I want to get that evaporated a little bit also. So our tofu has been cooking for about 4 or 5 minutes, and the veggies are cooked as well, and a lot of the moisture is evaporated. At this point, I want to add about a tablespoon of nutritional yeast or nooch. This is optional. If you don't have nutritional yeast, or if you want to skip that, you can. I just like to add that in for the nutritional value. It also gives a very cheesy flavor to the tofu, so this is it's a great recipe to use this in. Trying not to over mix this because I don't want the tofu to break. I like a chunkier tofu. If you don't care about the chunkier tofu, you can just mix it as you like. I'm just trying to mix it gently and just trying to fold it in. And lastly, for our herbs, I just want to add coriander leaves. I love coriander leaves. It just gives a nice flavor to a lot of the dishes. And in this one in particular, I absolutely love it. So I'm just gonna add that in last and just fold things in. This makes for a great breakfast or brunch along with some pancakes. I will leave a link in the description box below and on the top right of the screen for a whole wheat pancake recipe. Also breakfast potatoes. So this is pretty done. As you can see, this is ready to be served. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. This is a great brunch or breakfast idea. You can also use leftover scrambled tofu to make tofu quesadilla, a link to which I will leave in the description box below and at the end of this video. If you like this recipe or you know someone that might like this recipe, please do share. I'd love to hear your version of this recipe and hear how it turned out. I hope you enjoy this recipe, and I'll see you next time with another great recipe. Thanks for watching.